We go? You ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Finally, this is happening. A lot of weeks in the making. She suggested she wanted to share her story, so we finally have her. It's with a pleasure and a lot of anticipation. We have Didi here.
Hello.
Um, Didi. Actually, one thing I always wanted to ask you is Didi your real name or is like a short of something like your full name is longer?
My full name is Didam, actually.
Didam.
Didam.
Okay.
Yes. I actually changed my name to Didi when I was teaching ballet to little kids, and they couldn't pronounce and say my full name, so they were calling me like Miss Didi. So it sounded very nice and easy to pronounce and say it. So I was like, oh, it's so cute.
They
So
couldn't say Didi, the kids?
They couldn't say Didam.
Oh, Didam.
So they call me Miss Didi. So
Miss Didi.
That's how I became Didi.
Didi is from Turkey. Something that I want to ask you straight away because I'm really fascinated is how was growing up in Turkey? What kind of lifestyle were you living in Turkey, and where exactly in Turkey?
So I was raised and born in Istanbul.
Okay.
Until age 14, I lived there with my parents, and I grew up with a Turkish culture, and we're all Muslim, so the religion is mostly Muslim there as well. And after age 14, I moved to Germany by myself.
Oh wow.
And
14 years old.
Your question, no.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
How's Istanbul?
Istanbul was amazing, and I don't know what you want me to tell about this.
Like what kind of? I know it's like a mix of Western and Asia, and there's like a lot of like different cultures.
There's so
like
much culture. There's so much history, and it's very like people are amazing. Food is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
What else to say?
No, it's fine. I always wanted to go to Istanbul. It to me is like it has a this very mysterious aura. I don't know why. I always look at those areas as like mysterious because you're like Europe, but you're also like in Asia and like all the different religions and.
Yeah, Istanbul is the only city that has like a part of Asia and Europe.
Exactly.
And the bridge that connects both. So it's very special for that, and there's again so much history, and it's very beautiful.
So you grew up in Istanbul, and when did you get into ballet? Because ballet was like your passion when you were young, right?
Yes. So I was 9 when I first took my ballet class. I always wanted to be a painter.
No.
I was always a creative child, and I would paint and draw and do all the things and like lots of craft with my hands.
Okay.
So I wanted to go to a painting classes and eventually become a painter. But for my age, I was too young to go to painting classes eventually. And they said there was a ballet class. I was like, okay, sure, I will take it. I will try. And that's how I took my first ballet class. And I was like, oh my God, I love movement too. And it's so fun to like dance with the music and be in the group and find that expression in the movement. Even as a kid, I loved it, and so yeah, that's how I started.
Did you do any sport before doing that, or that was like your initiation to like any type of physical activity?
I was also like I was very active before too, and I always loved movement. Like I was going to like tennis. I actually love tennis, swimming. Nothing like serious and professional. Of course, I was very little too. But I was always active, like doing some stuff.
Okay.
Cycling and
cool.
All that. Yeah.
So then you got into ballet, ballet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were like, wow, this is it.
Well, no, not really.
No.
I was like, okay, what did I sign up for? No, it was more like, okay, this is so fun. And
was it only girls?
Only girls. It was a very small private school in Turkey, and I would go like twice a week, just for fun, And then they start to like create this performances like shows,
Mm.
and I was the lead, and I would like wear this fancy and nice costumes, and I was becoming like stronger and more flexible and more confident in my body. Even like as a kid, I felt like amazing. I was like, oh my god, I felt like a diva, and then I wanted to
Did you have
do
like
more of
a
this.
did you have like a that thing that you wanted to be on the spotlight, the prima donna, everyone?
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
of
had that from the
course.
beginning, because a lot of
Uh,
people they're like scared or
No, not in the
uncomfortable.
beginning. I just wanted to try dance, and then I was like, okay, I get all these compliments, and then applause, and then this and that, all this attention. I was like, okay, this is awesome,
I love it.
which I didn't know, you know, after that, it requires so much discipline and so much sacrifice and
Huh.
lots of work and dedication. Of course, when I start to take more seriously,
Yeah, yeah.
it changed. It was not just about the applause and attention.
Yeah, there
and
was
all
like
that.
everything
Yeah.
behind that we don't see.
Yeah, of course.
So you continued over the years, and when you did you make the decision? They were like, I'm gonna go like 100% with this.
Um, Actually, I was then 10 years old. Actually, a year or two after I started, because it was a pressure and push of my teachers.
Mm.
They were like, "Oh, you're so talented. You should definitely keep going, and you should pursue this as a career." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like I'm 10 years old. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. Like." And then I was like, "Oh, sure, yeah." And then I went home and I told my dad, "I'm like, Dad, I want to become a dancer." And he was like, "What?
Oh,
What do you
he had
mean?"
no idea.
He had no idea, and he was like, my family, they were always very supportive.
That's cool.
Even though they had nothing in their past like really related to art or dance or anything, they were always like very supportive of what I wanted in my life.
Huh.
So yeah, and my teacher wanted me to go to a bigger and more professional school.
Yeah.
So I went to a art conservatory in Turkey.
Okay, in Istanbul.
In Istanbul, yeah. So
At 10 years old.
Yes, I was
Wow.
studying in a private school. From that to transitioning into like a public school, it was very different in Turkey too.
Mm.
So it was a big change of culture, everything. And I don't know. I just kept going. I was like, I guess this is it.
And you never had doubts. You were like, oh, is this like the right thing to do, or I don't know. You're just like, I'm gonna do it. Doesn't matter.
I mean, the first day when I show up to school, it was very different environment and everything was so different. So I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, is this? Why did I sign up for this? And then I was like, you know what? You already did it. Just keep going and see where this is gonna take you.
Wow. So every day you guys were like training every day, the whole day?
Every day, all day. And my goal was to just become the best one always, since day one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I got accepted to the conservatory, actually, I was the fat one and not the flexible one, but they saw
Fat?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, I was chubby for ballerina.
Oh. Because
Uh,
ballerina has like very rigid standards.
Yes, you have to be like a specific size and specific like looking. So
And you were not that.
I wasn't that, yeah. But they saw the potential and the talent, and so they said, like, we're gonna accept you, but you have to change your body in like less than a 6 month.
What did you do?
I did. I changed my body.
Diet?
Diet, so much hard work and so much dedication. Even like that age, I was like super committed to, again, like super disciplined.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I set my mind to something, I will like go for it 100%.
Wow.
And actually I started learning and realizing of the power of the mind since then too. I was like, like when you are really focused for something and you really want that thing, you don't have to necessarily focus on the outcome always, but every day you take the action and you show up for yourself, then
Habits.
yeah, habits, just creating those habits.
Have you read the book Atomic Habits? Are you familiar?
No, I haven't yet.
the guy talks about instead of
The-
focusing on the final goal, you just focus on having a routine that eventually will take you to the goal.
Yeah.
But you don't focus on the goal; you focus on the routines.
Yeah, exactly. Daily, daily routines, habits, and the little things and steps that
Wow.
you take.
So, what was the routine of 10-year-old Didi in the school?
Um, so I would wake up, get ready, have breakfast, go to school, and
Breakfast, what? Like
Uh,
black swan, the grapefruit, and that's it.
no, not that bad. I would have like healthy breakfast, lots of protein, and
Okay.
since we dance and move so many hours a day, you need that energy also.
Yeah.
And as a kid, like
You
I
need-
didn't even know what diet was. So,
Okay.
um,
So
and
breakfast.
I would go to school. I was also studying at the same time, so we would have like math and science and everything.
Oh wow.
And then we would have dance classes, music classes. We had to play piano. We had to know about history of dance, history of music, and we had singing classes, which was not my favorite.
Do you sing also?
No, just in shower.
Like me.
Um,
That's so cool.
yeah.
So it was like
a-
on a 360-degree formation, not just the physical dancing. It was like your education, like the other aspects of art and creativity.
Yeah, it was a big change for
Cool.
me. Yeah. And people that were around me change, and things I was doing, and my routine, like everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 months, then you get to the physical shape that
Mhm.
you needed to obtain, and then
And then I was the best shape in the class and the most flexible at the end.
wow.
And I was like, wow, this like it's very empowering to be able to really change. If you put the effort and the work and the energy. So yeah, I kept going. I kept dancing, and my teacher then in the conservatory, they told me that I should level up and go somewhere else, and she wanted me
Oh.
to go to Germany.
Okay.
And so,
Germany is like the top in Europe with the
the
Netherlands.
school that I went to, like it was one of the top. I think it still is
Okay.
one of the best like schools in Europe for dancing.
What's the name?
Stuttgart. In Stuttgart, it's John Cranko School.
Okay.
And so the idea of like moving and leaving my house as a 14-year-old, I was like, oh my god, yes,
You wanted to go? You-
yes.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
were not like.
I love traveling. I love seeing new places, and
Oh, I thought you would say no. I don't want to leave my family or.
no,
No, you were ready to
no,
go.
I was like ready to go. Very
Wow.
adventurous since I was a little
Yeah,
girl.
14 years old. I was
Uh,
watching Simpson at home. She was traveling the world.
Yeah, I was like, peace out, I'm moving, I'm going. And again, my family was very supported, and they were also at the same time probably like freaking out too, because
Yeah.
we were very close. We still are very close, and they were, I don't know,
Follow
they
your
just-
dreams.
Yeah, they just told me to go follow your dreams and do your thing.
So you packed your stuff. You moved to Germany.
Yeah, by myself when I was 14, and then that was another shock and change, because it's a very different culture, different
Can
country.
we get me a little closer, maybe? Yeah, different country.
Different culture. Weather is so completely different.
Yeah,
Um,
how's the culture compared to yours in Turkey?
So different. We are like very warm people, outgoing, and Germans were completely different.
Sorry, German audience. I don't have any German audience, but if someone is German,
I love
Guys.
Germans. It was just different, and I got to accept that.
have you been to Berlin?
Yes,
Did you like?
I did. It's.
I didn't like Berlin. Sorry, guys. I didn't like.
I mean, I was there for just 3-4 days. I was actually auditioning for a dance company, and I got to see around too. It's a big city vibe, so it's like nice, but not for me right now. I'm more into like chill
Yeah.
nature.
Istanbul is not on the ocean. It has a river, right?
Yeah,
No.
we have an ocean.
You have an ocean.
Yeah, I mean,
So you have
sea.
beaches and like
We have sea.
beach
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Turkey has a lot of beaches.
No, I know
Uh,
Turkey has beaches, amazing. I've seen a lot of videos, but I didn't know if Istanbul had.
Istanbul, we have a sea, but not like necessarily beaches.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Germany, different culture. Little Didi is in Stuttgart, Franco school. Was the lifestyle similar to the one that you were living in Turkey?
Completely different again. Even like the food. Um, First day I went there,
Yeah,
like
Turkey
even
have
shocking.
amazing. You guys have amazing food.
Yes.
I
We have the
tried.
best food.
And Germany is shit.
I mean, I don't want to say shit, you know.
I'm gonna cut this. Oh, so going from like
Not shit, but even like the first day I show up, and by then I was in a dorm, boarding school, you know, and they gave us this free waters, and I was so thirsty, and I open up, and by then I didn't even taste of sparkling water. Now I love it, but I drank the water and it was sparkling. I'm like, oh my god, this has gas, and it was like a big change
you
for me
never
as a
had it.
kid, you know. I never had it before, and like those little things, I was like very shocked, and I was like, why are we eating yogurt in the morning, you know, like like those little things. But then
But you
of
guys have
course,
yogurt in Turkey for breakfast.
nowadays it's more common, but not really.
Not at the
Turkish
time.
breakfast is like eggs and sausage and olives and many things. It's very rich. But those things actually, it's like, it's big changes, you know, like for a little
Sauerkraut.
girl. Yes. So in the beginning, even
It was a shock.
it was a shock. Every time I had to face changes, it was like very challenging, you know, and very difficult, but it's also very empowering at the same time, because you open yourself up, you learn different things, and you adapt to that place. And even like the language, the culture, like every time, even now I travel, I feel like my personality expands and my vision expands, and I learn so much about myself. So I do really love it, even though if like it feels challenging.
Now, but even then, you had the same mentality. I was like, oh, I'm learning, I'm expanding.
Yeah,
I
like
love
I'll
it.
be fine with the yogurt in the morning, you know.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're training and learning new things and in a new culture, and you never had. This is really interesting to me. You never had. You never like second guessed. You never were like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Maybe this is not for me. You never had that. You were always like, I love this. This is my passion. This is my life. I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, not really. I was just so focused on that end goal of like, okay, becoming this perfect ballerina.
What's the end goal
So-
for a ballerina? Like
I
the,
mean,
the
everyone's-
top
To be a prima ballerina, which is
étoile.
yeah.
Where in Paris?
Everyone is different. I actually always wanted to dance in the United States, but it was so far, and the technique that they have here is very different too. So I thought, oh, this would never happen, but it ended up happening.
Oh wow!
You know.
Did you have like posters of ballerinas in your?
Yes, I actually had a poster
Of the Italian, what's her name? The Italian d'étoile, the lady from Sicily, blonde.
I forgot now.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes. And there's a very famous guy too.
Stefano Bolle.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if he's still dancing, but yeah, he's. Like,
no, I totally delete some part of the
Oh,
dancing from my memory.
okay.
I guess.
So we're in a different. Now is
We are in the flow now.
downward dogs and and ceremonies.
Yes.
Okay. So
Where were we?
yeah, you're living your life in Germany.
Mhm.
You're climbing up the ladder of.
Oh, you asked me if I ever like question or doubt myself.
Yes.
If this is the
Yeah.
thing that I want to pursue. The only moment I did that was the moment I got injured and broke my knee. I was on the floor, and the first thought and thing came to my mind. I'm like, oh, do I really want this? You know?
Wait, because I know the story, but you guys don't know unless you watched her other interview. One day, Didi's dancing, doing her normal routine, and then something happens.
Yes. Da-da-da.
See you in the next one. No. Subscribe and you'll see. No.
No, actually, it's a crazy dramatic story. But yes, I was taking a class and we were rehearsing for something specific. And
How old were you?
By then, I was 18. So
wow.
it was like close to the
4
graduation,
years later.
and I was gonna like graduate, end the school, and go dance as a professional dancer. You know.
Oh, when you finish the school, then you're like professional and you can like find
and then, yeah, you can find a job and you dance as a professional ballerina.
Cool.
So it was right before that, actually, like 2 weeks before. And so I fell and I dislocated my knee. I completely tear everything.
This
Yes,
one?
my knee was like, my kneecap was behind my leg.
This one was here?
Yes.
How did you do that?
So I was jumping and the floor was very sticky. So my foot stayed and my knee just like went 180 to the other side. And it just went out. And yeah. In that moment, it was so shocking that I didn't feel anything. I just heard something and I was on the floor.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what just happened?
And everyone went there looking for...
Everyone was looking and the pain actually started. This is how crazy the mind works. Pain actually started the moment I saw my friend's face. Because they were looking at me like something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And the moment I saw my leg, then I was like, okay.
Something's wrong.
Something is wrong, and it started.
And your
hurting.
leg was like...
Yeah.
Upside.
Twisted, yeah. Yeah. And then...
So ligaments, everything was shattered.
Was shattered, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What happens in those moments, Didi?
What do you mean? Like what?
Like, what is your mind thinking? Like, am I gonna be able to stand up, walk again? Is this the end of my dream? What am I gonna do now? Like, what is going on in your mind? Or you're just like survival mode? Oh shit.
Actually, great question. Everything felt like everything was slowing down, and I was just like questioning. I told you, like, that was the first time that I started questioning myself. I'm like, okay, it seems like I will not be able to walk soon, and I had to go dance. What am I gonna do with my life? Because ballet and dance defined me for a really long time, and actually I was even thinking of like, who am I if I'm not a dancer? What am I gonna do if I'm not dancing?
Wow.
And those were the thoughts that passing through my mind. And then of course I figured out that I'm here today, and I'm and my leg is perfect and everything is great, but sometimes you get into that mindset of like, everything becomes dark and you feel hopeless and you don't know what comes next, and that uncertainty and unknown, it can be very scary.
So obviously you had to do surgery, and you went back to Turkey, or you stayed in Germany for the rehab and
I stayed in Germany and I had my first surgery, and the doctors told me I will be able to dance again after 3-4 months, and I was like, okay, perfect. Okay. And that was not the case though. I couldn't even walk, and surgery didn't go the way they they wanted and expected. So yeah, and then I had to get another surgery after 6 months. Because I couldn't even walk, and doctors told me I will never be able to dance again, and I might be sometime able to walk. And I was like, you know what, like, I didn't even care or listen to anyone. I was like, I will walk and I will dance. Like, that was the thing that I have been wanting for so many years, and no one can tell me what to do right now.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know how, but I'm gonna recover and I'm gonna dance. So I step into that mindset of like,
I'm gonna go back.
I'm gonna go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were
Uh,
you doing in those months of like from the first surgery to the second? Like,
just recovery all day, training,
oh, you
recovery.
were still training,
Well, like rehab,
rehabbing.
Yeah,
Like you never
going to
stopped.
doctors and no,
Hmm.
yeah. But then at the same time, I start like looking other options and other things that I could do.
In case
Yeah,
you.
in case I wouldn't be able to walk again.
Okay.
So, yeah,
And then you
it
did
was
the surgery, the second.
the second surgery, and then I was still not doing so great, and I had to move back to Turkey just to
'Cause the
figure out what comes
because the
next.
school was
and
finished, or
school was finished,
okay.
everyone leave, and I had to like do something with my life,
Uh huh. And you were seeing like your friends, they were getting like jobs and becoming professionals.
Yes.
How was that?
It was.
And you were the best, no? Can we say that?
I mean, not there. I was.
One of the best
I
in the
was
school.
very good, but yeah,
Was that painful to see?
it was very painful to see, of course, because I was comparing my journey myself to other people, which now when I look back, I have learned to not compare myself with anyone else because everyone's journey is so unique, and I'm here today because of everything that happened.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually came to America too.
Okay.
And I have always wanted to live in Miami for some reason as a little kid.
Really?
And it happened this way.
Why Miami?
Because, so I moved back to Turkey with a broken knee, and
Your How was your family?
devastated. They were very sad, of course.
Because I mean, they were supporting you. They were like, "Yeah, you're
Very
gonna be a
supportive. They
professional
were-
ballerina.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like a famous celebrity in our family." And then all of a sudden, that the
Yeah,
thing
and
is,
they were like, no, very supportive still. They're like, we're gonna figure it out together. Like, it will be okay, you know. They support me a lot, actually. I was very blessed, but I was very depressed at the same time
I can imagine.
because I didn't know what to do with my life, and everything was very uncertain. So I moved back home, and I was on the phone with one of my best friend from Mexico, and she was injured at the same time, so we could
Ballerina
relate to it, yeah, each other. And she told me, like, we are both injured, we are both depressed, come to Mexico and let's just
Let's be depressed together.
Yeah, let's just have fun. We don't even have to dance anymore, so
Wow.
come and we enjoy life, and then we figure it out after. Maybe we can help each other figure things out. And I was like,
What's her name?
Mariana.
Hi, Mariana. Thank you for rescuing Didi from the
She's
abyss.
the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where she is still in Mexico?
She's still in Mexico, and she has a kid. Now she's pregnant for a second one. So
Wow.
her life has
Changed,
also changed in a beautiful way.
Okay, so Mexico.
So Mexico, yes, and then I was just enjoying my time with my friend, and she was a dancer too, and we went to her dance school in Mexico, and it was summertime. This Cuban guy came from Miami to train specifically dancers, and
Dancer also. Okay.
and I saw him, we met, and he was the only one that told me that I will be able to dance again. And then he said, I live in Miami, you will have to come to Miami to train with me. And I said, Miami? I forgot about dance. I was like, all right.
Oh, wow.
I'm going.
Why did you have this thing about Miami?
I don't know. I think it's so many people have that probably in Turkey, that like,
Miami?
Like the
really?
The American dream.
Okay, American Dream, yes.
And yeah. And I think because I came to Miami once in my life when I was 4, and we went to Disneyland. So when I was a kid, it was like this magical city, and so I had all this, like, I don't know.
So there was a sign, all right, this guy wants me in Miami.
Yes, and I was like, yeah, sure. I called my parents. I told them I'm moving to Miami, and they're like, what's going on?
Oh my God, these parents, so much patience.
Yes.
This daughter, a lot of respect and admiration. like Germany, like Mexico.
and
They,
Miami.
they never said, hey, why don't you want to stay in Turkey and have a life here?
No, no, no. They never really said that, and they
That's
were just
awesome.
like, just go do your thing, and you know,
Okay.
figure out. And so I came
Move
to
to Miami.
Miami. I was training with this guy all day, every day, like from 8 a.m. till
Like
6 p.m.
private.
Both private group sessions, and then he started doing acupuncture with me, and he was doing some energy healing.
Ah, so he
Uh,
was a dancer, but also like a healer.
he was actually
I mean, he is still
he
alive, no?
yes, yes,
Ah, okay.
yes.
Is he
He
still here?
yes.
Okay.
I haven't talked to him in a long time, but yes, I think so.
That's another story.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We
Another
can cut
podcast.
that part.
Another podcast. Okay. All right. So acupuncture, healing, dancing. Was that your first encounter with like healing practices?
Yes.
How was that?
Yes. It was incredible because he would told me so many times like your healing is mostly about how you view yourself, how you feel, and like it's your mindset, you know. So he was helping me shift that. Of course, physically I was also injured and I was weak, but it was a practices of both like strengthening my mindset and like physical.
What was he
thing
doing
too.
to change your mindset?
So he taught me breathwork. He taught me like little meditations.
Okay.
He was doing this healing thing with like a crystals, but it's like small crystals that he
On your
put on
chakras?
yes, he put on your bodies, and he was doing like acupuncture, and he introduced me to crystals, and I'm like, what am
Oh
I
my
gonna do
God.
with this stone?
I like
holding
this
in
guy.
My hand? Yeah.
What am I gonna do with this stone on my head?
Yeah. And yeah, it was.
But you were open to this.
Yeah, I was.
You were
super
not
open.
skeptical, like, "Well, what is this guy doing with me?"
No, I fully trusted.
From the beginning.
Fully trusted. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was gonna stay here for 2 months. I stayed 2 years,
Huh.
going back and forth home. And
Were you working, or how were you like spending
well,
your?
I was still recovering, you know.
Oh wow.
And then I started getting stronger. I started dancing a little bit, and then.
Is there like is Miami considered like a big market for dancers? Because I know New York, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great company, you know, Miami City Ballet. There's New York. There are so many in Europe. And there are great companies like around the country.
Okay. But if you live in Miami, can you make a career in Miami? Or
Yeah, of course.
Really?
As a dancer, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. But I went back to dance, and I found a job in Houston, Texas.
Huh.
And yeah, it was a small company with Cubans. I have always wanted to train with Cubans, actually. So funny.
Why?
Because they have a very different technique than I was used to.
Okay.
And I have always wanted to, you know, like explore that and learn, and they're great dancers. They're very strong.
Huh.
And so I got to experience that in Houston, in Texas. And
There's
I
something
went
with Cuba. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. There's something in Cuba, because I was listening to a podcast of my good friend the other day. He's a boxer, and he said that Cubans, because they have this dance background, that makes them incredible boxers. And Cubans they have an amazing like tradition for boxing. So I don't know what makes them so good in like these sports, but
it could be because of the body awareness, because of the coordination.
But where does it come from?
Well, dancing.
And why they have this tradition of dancing?
This I don't know.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see, you know,
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah.
But okay, anyway, so you wanted to train with the Cubans,
Yeah.
and
then I got to do that in Houston, and then
how was that?
in the beginning very hard
Living in Houston?
to living in Houston. Another big change.
Another big change. Why was it hard, Houston? How's Texas?
Because it was very different again, you know? Everything is so different.
In a good way or
people-
like?
In just a different way.
All right, Didi is politically correct. Okay.
And but again, with time, you start adapting. You start, embracing and accepting the people, the culture, and everything.
Mm.
At least that was my choice. And
But were you happy to be back in dancing as a professional dancer?
yes,
Okay.
yes, and with years, I have gotten stronger, and I got to a point where I could now audition and go for bigger companies and really like go higher and higher
Uh-huh.
in my career.
And how old
And,
were you? Around
uh,
20.
I was 25,
Okay.
24, 25, and I was like, pause.
Pause.
Pause. I told myself, like, take a moment to think now that I'm older,
Yeah.
what do I want for my life? What
Yeah.
do I keep pushing this? Or, well, like, am I happy where I am? And does this serve me? What's my future goals and everything? And apparently, dancing wasn't in alignment with what I wanted.
Oh, what changed?
Because of the lifestyle, that it
Oh.
was like very intense and very structured and so much discipline, and
Okay.
I wanted something more peaceful for me,
Hmm. So you still liked the art form, but you didn't like
the lifestyle.
the lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a shock?
Shock for people around me.
Not for you?
It was scary, but not like shocking. I was sure that I didn't want that for me anymore. I was just not sure what I wanted.
Hmm.
But I knew that it was gonna find me and it was gonna come.
Oh.
Which is yoga.
Okay. So you. This is something interesting I want to explore. So you always had faith that things would work out in a way or another. You were never like completely lost and like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now that I don't. This is
there were
not
points.
fulfilling me anymore.
Yeah, there were points in my life where I was like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I was in fear. But most of the
Okay.
time, and my biggest mantra that I go for, it's I'm lucky and everything always works out for me. And that reminds me of that deep trust of like, no matter what happens, everything is gonna work out.
Can you say that again to our listeners, Didi?
No matter what happens, everything is gonna work out at the end, because it has always been, like when you look back and maybe you had some moments and things that you were doubting yourself, you were worrying, and you didn't know what was the next step. And here today, looking back, like you realize that everything always worked out one way or other. Maybe a little different than how you expected, but everything always works out.
Wow. So okay, you had this realization.
Is a yoga mindset that.
Wait, they don't know, but they don't know. So no more dancing. So what happens?
And of course, I came back to Miami and.
From Houston.
Yes, and before that, actually, my first friend in Miami, one of my best friend, Kelly. She's American, and she was my first friend here. She was going through her yoga teacher training back then, and she needed some people and friends to practice with. And she asked me, like, can I practice yoga with you and sound healing and meditation? And I was like, oh my God, yes, please.
Okay. She wanted to use you as like an experimental guinea pig.
Like a guinea pig, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I would love to. And then I went there, and she taught me the class, and then she was also like sharing what they were going through in the training, and she was showing me her books and everything. And then I saw the sound bowls for the first time, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, imagine to do this for a living, like, like. And then all these yogis look so peaceful and happy, and they travel all the time. They eat acai bowls and this and that. I was like, oh my God, after dance this must be like so amazing.
These yogis,
and then I become that person right
Oh,
now.
so okay, so she initiated you to this new path, and then
Well,
you
no,
started.
she just taught that class and that was it.
Ah,
But then after I quit dancing and everything, I was gonna move back to Miami again. She told me, "Oh, I know this studio that is looking for a front desk
in Miami.
in Miami." Yes, and I was like, "Front desk? Like I have never done that, but sure, in a yoga studio." Sounds great. And then she was like, "Yeah, you should definitely try. Go work at the front desk, and then you will get a free yoga classes." I was like, "Oh my god, I definitely need more yoga in my life and more peace." So I went there. I started as a yoga, as a front desk person, and then it was so healing to be surrounded with like very nice and genuine and supportive people and the environment. Actually, that started healing me so much already, you know, coming from like more competitive place to that like healing and understanding and supporting
A community, more like a community.
yes, it
Huh.
was already so empowering and healing. And you know, who you surround yourself can be very effective
100%, yeah.
in like in everything.
So you were hooked from the beginning, and then you were like, I want to be a yoga instructor.
No, and then I started taking yoga classes, and the yoga teacher training was coming up, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with my life, and I
Yeah.
love teaching. I have always been teaching like since I started dance.
Uh-huh. Oh, so
Um,
you were always teaching when you were dancing?
Yes,
Ah.
and I have
For kids, and you said they couldn't
kids,
say your name.
adults, like all levels and everyone. And I knew that I loved teaching. I just stopped enjoying teaching dance.
Mm.
And then and then I decided to do the training and
Mhm.
become a yoga teacher. I didn't know what to expect either, but I did the teacher training for the personal development, you know, to get to know myself
Okay.
more rather than doing more like physical activity.
Mm.
Um,
It was more like an
like
inner
a
journey.
spiritual and inner journey. And I was more into that side then, you know, like let's do handstand and let's do get into a pretzel pose, and which is
I mean, you were probably kicking ass to everyone from the beginning, Didi, because you were doing like splits and like.
yes.
And
if
everyone
you
was
still
like,
come to
who,
my
who
power
is
class-
she? You know, she just started yoga and she's doing handstands and pigeon pose.
Yeah.
You were probably a natural from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very flexible
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of
of course.
that reason. But yoga helped me actually build so much strength in my body,
Mm.
and of course also mind.
Okay,
But-
so you reinvented yourself as a yogi.
Mhm.
So you kind of already said it, but what do you like about yoga? Like the community,
The community and the practices that I learned through yoga, the spiritual part, and the whole philosophy and the lifestyle of yoga is, you know, there are so many different aspects in yoga. It's not just the practice that we do on the mat, but it's much more than that, and that what draw me into yoga and
What's-
the community and the mindset and everything.
So what is this much more that you refer to? What is outside the mat that yoga has that
You know,
makes you
the
so
self-discovery practice, the meditation practice, and yeah, it's all about getting to know yourself more,
Hmm.
and which we
Wow.
can do also in the physical practice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it helped me to kind of like regaining my power and inner trust, I would say.
And you said that you also like started like embrace the like holistic practices and holistic lifestyle and spirituality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how has that changed from like the person you were like 10 years ago, and what is like spirituality for you? Do you see the world in a different way?
Um, I believe that to change the world, first I have to change myself.
That's
And
Gandhi, you said that.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And to change myself, the most important thing is to really master my mind and shift and change my perspective in life. And you were asking me like the spiritual practices that I do.
Hmm. Yes.
Um, Nowadays, spirituality can go like all the way, especially in Miami. But I mean, the little practices that makes me feel good, you know. For example, like my daily meditation, the breathwork practice, the gratitude practice, which has changed my life completely.
Tell me more, because I bought a recently, thanks to Cam. Hi Cam, what's up, man? Yeah, I
Oh,
bought,
I saw that he has the same journal that I have. The
and
five
I have the
minute.
same that he has, the gratitude journal.
Yes,
I
yes.
started like 2 months ago, and it's a little practice that I do every day. It's enjoyable. I mean,
Yes.
I like doing it, but how has that changed your life?
Because it just changed my perspective in so many things, and
Okay.
um, I feel like in the past I would complain a lot more in my life, and practicing gratitude has changed that. And I start to see more things that I'm grateful for that I have in my life instead of I'm lacking,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah. Yes, I
And
know.
because uh, in general, me, you, and like humans, we always want more and we crave more, and it's kind of like never enough, and we are never satisfied, and we sometimes think that we will be happy and we will be peaceful and we will find that joy when we get to that point, but that point and end goal always change and shifts. So it's like you can be in the most beautiful place, doing the most beautiful things, having the most beautiful meal, and you can still find something to
To
complain
complain.
about, you know, like because the mind will never be satisfied. So gratitude practice has changed me, have changed me that perspective. For example, the best example is in Miami, you know, like I drive so much because I go to my clients,
Yeah.
and like I don't like traffic. I don't like driving. But
No one does, Didi.
instead,
Who likes traffic?
I don't know. But I'm like every day constantly telling myself until I believe it. I'm like, I'm so grateful to be able to go to work. I'm so grateful to be able to drive and to have my own car and this and that. And it does really help, you know.
Hmm.
It might sound very silly, but those things really help.
No, no,
At least for
I
me.
feel you 100%. This gratitude journal, if you guys know what it is, it's like a little, it's a journal. And every day you have to, like, say, in the morning, like, how are you going to make this day great? And
Hmm.
you just, like, write
Kind
down,
of like set
you
intentions.
set intentions on how the day is going to unfold based on the decisions that you make.
Yeah.
And then at night before you go to sleep, ideally you pick the best 3 things that happened during that day that were, good things that happened to
Yeah.
you.
So basically, you start your day with setting intentions and like more mindful practices, and then
Yeah,
at the end, you just reflect
you
and
reflect on the day.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
really
cute.
nice.
Yeah, because let's say, for example, like, I have a bad day and I'm like, oh, today was a shit day. But then I'm writing the journal. I'm like, actually this happened, and I spoke with this guy, and he said this, that it was a beautiful thing. So I
Uh-huh.
write that down. Or I was going at the gym, and on my way out, I saw like this squirrel that was funny looking, whatever. It's like
Yeah,
that was cute.
yeah.
So you start seeing all
You,
those.
you start seeing those little things,
You're
and you
like,
start
actually,
appreciating more. And
yeah,
even like a smile from a stranger, I'm like, oh, it's like so beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that has also like helped me to see more things that I have in my life, that I'm surrounded with so much love and abundance already.
Abundance. Yeah, that's a big one.
So
Wow. So
yeah.
okay, what other practice do you find has helped you in your like life? Meditation,
Movement
gratitude.
is a big one for me, of course, coming from a dancing background and yoga. It can be like some days it looks like a walk for me, like I leave my phone in the house and
Mm.
I walk in nature, I connect with nature. It's a big one for me too, like being out and being in nature. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I also love Miami. That
That's what I wanted to say. We're so lucky to be here. Like,
yes,
doesn't matter what time of the year, we can go out. Maybe it's
yeah,
raining, but I mean, you can stay. Like,
we have the ocean, we
yeah,
have the nice parks and stuff.
yeah. I mean, guys, Miami is not just nightlife, and what's the reputation of Miami? Like
Oh,
nightlife,
party,
party. I mean,
there's
yes, you can live that, but there's also a lot of like beautiful stuff here. That
yes,
it's beautiful nature, animals, and all of that.
for sure. But don't come.
Why not? No, come.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, so
Um,
daily practices and activities. Oh, movement. You said.
Moment is one. Meditation and breath work. The gratitude practice.
Breathwork. What is there like a specific one?
I mean, day to day, I don't stick with one. Sometimes I do follow like apps. You
Ah,
know. Sometimes I do my own.
okay.
Some days I even just play my samples and um, just receive that, listen to that, and sometimes I even like start humming and chanting. So every day it looks different. Some days I like to stay in a dark room in silence and just reset and recharge like that. Sometimes I'm out, it's like a moving meditation and walking. Sometimes I listen to like a soft, nice music and just sound healing
Hmm.
on my phone. So it's just all
You're a
different.
hippie, Didi. A modern hippie.
If that's what you wanna call me, yeah, sure.
No, I'm joking. I love this.
I mean, it's for me and for everyone. Like I was going back to the mantra of like wherever you're in your life,
I love that.
whether you know what comes next or you assume what comes next. Um, I think also changing so many places, living in different places, careers, changing, relationships and everything. I think we always have to remember that home is within us, regardless of where we are, what we do. We can detach ourselves from that identities and going back to that inner trust, that inner knowing, and um, just remembering that everything always works out.
Hmm. Wow.
And that will work out.
This is a beautiful way to finish. I had one more question that is gonna ruin this
You want to ask me about Turkish dessert?
the ending. No. I wanted to ask you like life of an immigrant,
Uh-huh.
because we're both immigrants.
Yes.
And I don't know how was your experience when you moved to America. We both had this dream. I had this dream also, like to move to America. And like how was it? Was it as you imagined? Was it different? Was it you were like, oh shit, I thought it was like the movies, but it's not. Well,
Well, I was younger too. I told you it was about 10, 11 years ago.
yeah.
And it happened like very unexpectedly. And it was, of course, in the beginning very challenging, but also I had so much gratitude to be here, to have all the opportunities and learn about different cultures. But it
Yeah.
also comes, just like everything, with challenges. Like English is not my first
Oh
language.
yeah.
And you
yeah.
can tell that I have a thick accent. So even like
Not
sometimes
really.
expressing and like communicating and connecting with people, not talking your own language can be very
I
challenging.
know.
for
Yeah.
me.
How did you learn English?
Well, I started practicing in Turkey already, and then I
Wow.
went to an international school in Germany.
Oh.
And then before coming to Miami, I didn't even know that Miami had almost the first language is Spanish. I was like, wow, amazing! I'm gonna go practice my
My English,
and
no,
everything there.
Miami.
And I learned Spanish.
Yeah.
Ahora yo habla español, muy bien. And so, yeah, that.
What kind of challenges did you have?
The culture is very different here, and honestly, in Miami, most of the time I felt like I belong here in
Mm.
many ways, because there are so many people from
Yeah,
all over,
multicultural. Yeah,
yeah. And overall, the Latin culture is very similar to us in so many ways. We are like very
interesting.
family oriented, very warm and outgoing, and it's all about the community and stuff
I love that.
for us. But at the same time, it was very hard to adapt to so many things, and I feel like in some parts still, it's just different and challenging to
Do you miss your
to
country?
listen. I do.
You do?
I
Yeah.
do.
What do you miss the most? Your family is here, right?
My family is here. I
Okay.
miss my people, like my relatives, actually.
Mm.
Yeah. And sometimes I miss the culture a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But honestly, Miami feels more like home now for me.
Because you've been here how many years now?
11 years,
Wow.
almost 11. But I left Turkey when I was 15, like 14. Sorry.
So you lived most of your life outside Turkey.
Actually, half and half. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, I finished my questions. Didi, you finish however you want.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so if they want to follow you or know more about you,
Mm-hmm.
how do they do?
Well,
Yeah.
they can follow me on Instagram, Flow with Didi, and feel free to DM me if you have any questions about this or yoga or sound healing or anything that you wanna talk about and know more about wellness. I'm here for you.
Didi, was a pleasure. Thank you very much. Follow Didi on social media, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.